Eventually, like my mother tells me, eventually when you go from this world, nobody cares how much wealth you have, how many houses you have, how many cars you have, and nobody cares if you're a successful person or a failure. All that they'll do is they'll come to your funeral and decide whether you're a good man or a bad man.
The barber, the local barber, you go to cut your hair and all that. So he's telling me, after a long time I went and met him in Miraz Bhai. So he said, वो जो तुम्हारा दोस्त है ना, वो आके मुझे कहता था, ये तो काला है, कैसे एक्टिंग करेगा ये?
If family supported you, people around you, because we all come from like middle class backgrounds, right? To believe in the dream and the passion that you had.
Very clear with my life is I know what not to do. It's always been finding. And then I didn't want to leave theatre. I never wanted to become a film actor.
I was out fishing with my father one day. My mother was after my life to be a surgeon.
Oh, everybody's doctor story.
Because she would look at my hands and be like, those are surgeon's hands for some reason. My father looked at me and he said, you could have a bigger part than this if you were an actor.
But my dad, hardcore defense man, okay, 18, 19 years back. And I have like a very nice corporate job and I'm doing very well at my job. And I suddenly say I want to become an actor. When I left my house 18, 19 years back, my dad did not come out of the room to even say goodbye to me. He was that upset.
You must be doing something good. Yeah. Why do you say? No, I saw your interview on BBC. I'm like, but what is the relationship with that? He said, no, BBC would not interview someone who is not good. So I said, oh, so you trust BBC more than your son.
It is a constant journey and process. I don't know where I go. Every horizon, I think that is the way I have to reach. And when I reach a horizon, I see another horizon.
True.
I reach there another horizon. So life is just flowing for me.
I happen to be in an esteemed company today because I'm joined by the cast of Mukhbir. I saw the trailer and I was blown away. So without further ado, welcoming Adil sir, Barkha, Zain and Prakash sir in conversation with me only on Bollywood Bubble. Hello everybody.
Hello.
हम लोगों ने बहुत मजे किए by the way अमृतसर में. We are doing this interview in Amritsar. It's my first time. Have you guys been to Amritsar? Of course you guys were shooting. For how long did you shoot here in Amritsar?
First schedule was for 12 days. And yeah.
All of you were shooting in Amritsar?
I shot for some time, but I keep coming to Amritsar for different films and different works. Yeah.
What about you, sir?
I didn't shoot here, but I came here once. Yeah.
You were saying something?
The first time I've actually visited was during my 11th standard. Come for a DPS circuit debate competition. I had won. So yeah, I have good memories with this place. Just putting that.
But I want to know that, when I saw the trailer, there was a point of time we used to make like a lot of those espionage spy thrillers, and then there was a point where we took a break from it, and then the ones we were making, we were not really making it well. And I think Neeraj sir and Shivam sir have been making some really good thrillers, spy thrillers in that space. This is another feather to the cap, right? And when I saw the promo, I really loved how it has been shot, the whole story and how the backdrop. Is it a fictional tale? Is it a real story? Have you met the people who you are, of course, some of you, who have you heard the stories from?
I couldn't have met the person that I am playing because that is the job of that person to not reveal themselves. But short, I think it is very important to mention here that Dimo Papa, who's our DOP, has done a tremendous job. He has made, from whatever I've seen, even in dubs, whatever was not even color corrected, looked picture perfect. It was just stunning. So, credit to him that he not only shot it well, but he shot it on such a schedule where he was literally the hardest person, the person working the hardest, and then delivering the results that he has had. Credit to him.
Yeah, it is, it is inspired by real events, and it happens in a period which we know, our country.
Yeah.
But characters are fictional. Now, if you're telling a mother's story, and you say it's a fictional character, mother is mother everywhere, but given a situation, given a language, given a space, how would she be? But finally, you're talking about motherhood, whether it is Russian, Indian, whatever it is, something like that. It is an extraordinary situation. and that period of 60s and 70s, whatever happening, in that you have a spy, you have a officer, and intelligence, you have different characters who come across, which are there everywhere. The whole trailer looks different is because of the soul of the film, because it is a human tale.
Yeah.
It's a story of human beings, and it's a story about because of the extraordinary situations and any human being gets into and how he's chiseled, what is the difference with him. It's about the inner dilemmas, and which all of us go through in life, and this is documented in such a way for a larger impact or larger perception of life, to understand unsung heroes and what goes. But it is not just an exercise, it is not a bullet wound, it is not something you jumped, it is not something you achieved. Probably it is something where you lose for others to gain, and for a country to gain, for a society to gain. But at the end, you are left alone, totally a different man because of the situation. And that is not documented at all. And it could be some wounds are deeper than flesh, and scars are not seen, but the wounds are true. And it is an arc of every character who goes through being in this situation for the concern of the country, for his responsibilities, or he is thrown into a situation. But what happens within him is the story. Though it is fictionalized, but it's talking about very true, tangible life.
You know, when I have watched a film like Razi, I was a little confused. I loved the film, but and I loved what Alia's character, like the real character who she played, did for the country. But at the same time, I was like, I knew why the country could sacrifice her as collateral damage, because of course it's the security of the nation eventually that is at stake. But you also, because it's humanized again, like you said, it's a human story, you feel for that character and you feel like, how can, just like you said, sir, that how can they be left out? And you feel like, ye kya ho raha hai? There are so many people who have done that service for us. We don't even know them. They are nameless, they are faceless. They don't have an identity which we can really claim to.
And the irony is they should be like that.
Yeah.
Because being a Mukhbir, the country whom he is working for should not know him.
Yeah.
And the country he is going, he should not know him. And if he achieves something, there will be no recognition because he will be known again. Because a Mukhbir or anybody in this intelligence, whether my role or Adil's role, we die pregnant with so much which we can't express to the world. You have to take it to your this thing, because that is how the system has to work. So it's a very interesting story, as you said. It's about stories, but it also, if Mukhbir as a story, as an experience, the takeaway would be that if you can be sensitized enough to change your perceptions, open the eye of a window and start recognizing such unsung heroes, so like could be a farmer, could be a mother, could be a friend. And if this can contribute to some extent to the ecosystem of perception and living together and thanking one another and remembering whoever, so many people who have contributed for us to be safe and wonderful and what they go through. I think.
Sir?
I think it's a matter of like probably 99.9% of the population of the world, and mostly in India, we don't generally do what we love to do.
That's true.
And imagine that, a doctor who actually wanted to be a gardener, or a carpenter, or a professor who really wanted to be a carpenter, but because we look down at those jobs, he didn't even dare, or she didn't even dare to think like that. So if we had followed our inner calling, in Sanskrit is called Swadharma, I think I followed my Swadharma, that it was so strong that, okay, I want to act. Even the bungee jumping, they do, how do they do it? I mean, jumping for the paragliding, I'm like, no way, I can't go. Extreme sports people. So I somehow feel that people, those who are in these fields, operating as Mukhbir or operating as army, going into the infantry, and so there is this inner calling in them that this is what I want to do, and they're following the birth vision. I would say the birth script. I know I'm talking in esoteric terms, but I feel that is, otherwise there is no other explanation that can be, I haven't gotten any better explanation than this. Yeah, it is just that it is the inner calling and they followed it. And some people don't. I'm not saying all the people, those who serve in the army, are doing because they or they probably just to earn money, and because they didn't find any other job. Lot of teachers who didn't find any other jobs are teachers. Lot of doctors, they were pushed by their parents to become doctors, and they behave accordingly, like they are making money and not service. So this is what I feel.
No, I have to add to that now that you've said this. So, I was almost gonna become a doctor.
There you
Not
go.
because of this. But my parents actually supported my vision.
Okay.
Although my relatives really made it tough for them. And they judged them because I always was passionate towards only one thing. I wanted to meet Shah Rukh Khan, and that's why I started doing journalism. I'm not kidding. It's a fact. And I want to know that all of your artists and storytellers, and today we are respecting that profession, that medium. It was not how it was when we were growing up, right?
Yeah.
Was it difficult to convince family, and if family supported you, people around you, because we all come from like middle class backgrounds, right? To believe in the dream and the passion that you had?
I was out fishing with my father one day. My mother was after my life to be a surgeon.
Oh, everybody's doctor story.
Because she would look at my hands and be like, those are surgeon's hands for some reason. But my father looked at me and he said, you could have a bigger pond than this if you were an actor. And after that, he never spoke of it. He still doesn't remember it. If I mention it to him, he refuses that such a thing ever happened. But my parents were extremely supportive. Extremely supportive. My mother did have a very hard time accepting it. But had it not been for them, I would not have been able to survive one day in Bombay. Because I didn't want to do anything else but just this. So they supported me not just monetarily, but psychologically, socially, in every manner possible. And brought me to the point that today I'm sitting here. So yes, you do follow your dreams, and we've probably that 0.9% of people, but we've had those support systems in one way or the other. And for me, that has been my parents,
Absolutely.
first and foremost.
So, what about you?
I thought tear down. All my life, I wouldn't say I started with a dream to become an actor. Very clear with my life is, I know what not to do. I don't know what to do. So, I come from the 70s generation where I didn't want to be an accountant. I didn't want to do anything. I was not an actor at all. But I was figuring out what to do, what will I have. I came into theatre. The college and school, it was nice to be good at orating or saying lines. The claps was wonderful. But then once I came into theatre, then I had the opportunity of being thrown into a lot of literary giants and theatre. And there was a great Kannada movement there. The theatre movement was happening. Literature movement was happening. Then I found there is something here. It's always been finding. And then I didn't want to leave theatre. I never wanted to become a film actor. I was just there. But then the theatre was not giving us enough money, repertories and things like that. Then the television came in.
True.
So hopped onto it and wanted to do some editing and things like that. Then the cinema came in. Then the direction comes in. Then the farming comes in. Then the architecture comes in.
And
It's
the farmhouses come in.
It is just that I don't know what is in store. What will I be 5 years down the lane, 10 years down the lane? I don't look at it that way because I don't know. But I'm sure of what I don't want. I put my foot down. I don't want this. I don't want to become this. I don't want. And parents were not in a position to support me or empower me because we come from a very lower middle class. My mother was a nurse. My father was a binder. There's no literary background for us. No educational background for us. It was not that. So we were just left. So I come from a generation which was trying to adapt. You see television at 82, you're already out of school.
Yeah.
Then 94 the computers come, then you have to reinvent yourself. Then the cell phones come. Then for me also it's been just a journey. It's not. I started from Karnataka, then I come into Tamil Nadu, then to Telugu, then to Hindi, then I come into television serial, cinema, now OTT. It's a constant journey and process. I don't know where I go. Every horizon, I think that is the way I have to reach. And when I reach a horizon, I see another horizon.
True.
I reach there another horizon. So life is just flowing.
Did you have a similar kind of a story?
My dad, hardcore defense man, 18, 19 years back. And I have like a very nice corporate job and I'm doing very well at my job. And I suddenly say, I want to become an actor. And my dad's like, no, but like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to act. He said, no, but as a profession, what do you want to do? So acting back then was not considered a profession. It was like things people did as a hobby. Ki acha shauk hai, kar liya, right? So when I told them I want to do this, believe you me, there was a round table conference in my house, and I have two elder sisters who are MBAs, okay? And my dad is like, do you not want to like study further and or do what your sisters are doing, see what they are and how educated they are and all of that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I actually literally had to rebel against the whole family. Yes, some were like a little supportive, some not. Also, being a girl, huge this thing, girl going alone to Bombay. We do not know anyone in Bombay. What is she going to do? How is she going to do? Oh, the kind of thing you hear about the industry and all of that. Went through all of that, stood my ground, and said, this is it. Like, this is it. And I still remember, I mean, when I left my house 18, 19 years back, my dad did not come out of the room to even say goodbye to me. He was that upset. And it broke my heart when I did that. My mother was there, of course. My sisters were there. It broke my heart. But I'm like, I have to do this. And I don't regret that one bit today. And my father is so proud of me today. So proud of me.
This is great.
Not because I survived, I managed. I've survived 18, 19 years in this industry on my own. Not because of that, because he just feels that I did it with my head held high. And I didn't do anything, all the fears that he had, I didn't do any of that. So he doesn't care about how successful is she or how much money is she making. He's like, my daughter is there with her head high in an industry where it's very difficult to do that. So I think that is why he's really proud of me, and it all fell into place eventually. But it was a struggle. Yeah.
Eventually, like my mother tells me something in Bengali, I'll just explain it in English. So she tells me that eventually when you go from this world, nobody cares how much wealth you have, how many houses you have, how many cars you have. And nobody cares if you're a successful person or a failure. All that they'll do is they'll come to your funeral and decide whether you're a good man or a bad man. अच्छा इंसान था, बुरा इंसान था. So मेरी मम्मी बोलती है कि जिंदगी में वही रहना कि ताकि लोग बोले कि अच्छा इंसान था. कितना पैसा कमाया, कितने सक्सेसफुल हुए, कोई नहीं देखता eventually, right? It's all perishable. And yeah, coming to you, did you have a struggle breaking that news to?
My mom was on my side in a way. She would be, because I'm her last, child and last born, and dad was completely not happy about it. It's not that he loved art. He was a man of literature. Tagore was his god and all that, but the fear that son would not have enough to live their comfortable life. So that fear I understood, but I did not give in to that, and he didn't speak to me for several years. And I was like, okay, fine, you don't speak to me. This is what I'm going to do. And then just before he passed away, at the age of 93, he passed away in 2003. And 2001, I come home. I did a play in England. I come home, and so we always spoke in English, he and I. He said, you must be doing something good. I was like, yeah. Why do you say? No, I saw your interview on BBC. I'm like, but what is the relationship with that? He said, no, BBC would not interview someone who is not good. So I said, oh, so you trust BBC more than your son. So he started laughing. And we had already, so I'm glad that he saw that. But till then, he was not approving of the fact that, okay.
Till 2001.
Till 2001. It was like, yeah, it's okay, but where's the money? How will you live? He's not asking money from me, but how would you live? I had 100 rupees in my pocket most of the time till 2007 or 8, because I did theatre. And only since 2010, suddenly I started doing films, and that
How much
too.
money do you have in your pocket right now?
I have around a couple of thousand, I guess.
But now it's digital, no? Everything is digital.
No, but I have some cash also. Yeah. So yes, I mean, we had our share, but that's the fun part.
Have you got that sense of validation from the same people, and how did you feel? Because you guys also have similar stories, right? All of you have had at least one person in your life who didn't agree or align with your dreams?
I was in college recently where I had walked out when I was in second year BCom. So I was the chief guest and they gave me a life achievement award.
Already?
From the college I walked out.
Lifetime?
Yeah.
Already?
Just like that. Already.
With the
They do
ball
that.
baki hai aapka.
So I was there and one of these girls stood up, who was one of my classmates, and said, I want to take back my word, what I told him. She said, when I was in college doing commerce, and it's a crushes which happened.
Yeah.
And she didn't take me seriously. And she said, Aina dekha hai tu? Have you looked at yourself into the mirror? You want to become an actor? She said, I want to take back. I didn't know this guy would be this popular.
I don't think we can top that validation moment. Sorry. That is not happening.
But what about you?
I think very lame and shallow on whatever
That's
part.
okay.
But
We can be a little lame and shallow.
I remember once, it's actually how parents also look at what you do. After watching Bell Bottom, my father sitting on my right and my mother on my left, they look at me and like, you sharing screen space with Akshay Kumar? Yes, you've done it. Yeah. So until then, so I was like, yeah.
Fab.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay, really cannot. Like I said,
Yeah, that is just.
for me, it's very basic. It's very simple. If I'm with my parents and somebody's come to click a picture with me or say, "Oh, you're Barkha Bisht, right?" I mean, that is validation for
True.
them any which ways. Which again is a very small thing. It comes with the profession. But I think the thing that my father, I think what was validation for him was that he came on my set once when I was shooting, and one of the characters in the house is this servant, an old, one of those Ramu Kaka types and everything. So my parents came and they were meeting everybody, and he told my parents that I have to tell you that your daughter, you have brought her up so well.
True.
He said there are so many young girls on this set who all come and say, "Hi, Kaka, how are you?" He said, "Your daughter is the only one on the first day who touched my feet. And ever since that day, she says namaste to me." And he says that is what distinguishes your daughter
True.
from the other girls. I could just see my father, like I thought he was going to burst with pride just hearing that. So I think that was validation that irrespective, she's still my little girl, So that was
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. What about you, sir?
The funny story.
Your BBC story, of course, we heard.
No. The funny story about validation. No, that's my dad. But so the barber that I used to go to cut my hair, the barber, as the local barber, you go to cut your hair and all that. So he's telling me. After a long time, I went and met him and Miraz Bhai. So he said, "वो जो तुम्हारा दोस्त है ना, वो आके मुझे कहता था, ये तो काला है, कैसे एक्टिंग करेगा ये?" And that guy, the next day comes home and
Oh my God.
it's like,
Fab.
so there are all kinds of things, Kala admi, how can you act? He's so dark. And so you forget.
But quite a
It's like
journey,
the
isn't
Yeah.
idea of
Quite a
actor has changed. And all that.
No, thankfully so, right? I think the prototype has changed. There was a certain prototype कि ऐसे ही लोग hero बन सकते हैं, ऐसे ही लोग models बन सकते हैं. I think everything is changing. We are in an age of renaissance in that way.
Yes.
Hopefully a good one. I want to know that when you follow your dreams, and there are moments where, because ऐसा है कि कोई guarantee तो है नहीं कि हम लोग life में कुछ कर पाएंगे, right? सिर्फ सपने ही होते हैं. So no, when you dream, there is no guarantee, you will not even have clarity कि कुछ कर पाएंगे या नहीं. सपने तो वैसे होते हैं, but बहुत लोग होते हैं कि सपने को साकार जब नहीं कर पाते, मतलब there has been a lot of struggles in our life and everybody's struggles will be different, but there has been a journey for each of us, right? There can be moments, especially when you're veering towards your passion, craft and dreams, which doesn't align with just a profession, just a mere profession or an occupation. What happens, it's very easy to get discouraged. It's always very easy to break somebody to come and tell me that I'm shit, and it will break my morale if it has to. Has that ever happened to you guys? Because you guys have also struggled to be where you are today, right? Like you said that till 2007, you were still struggling with finance, and same with you, sir. So I want to know all of you, and you also have had a journey, right? Both of you as actors. It's not easy. to make it in the industry?
So life itself is not easy. Okay, not everybody has a dream, but the whole orientation is wrong. What is success? What is failure? We need to understand that. Now, for example, if you take my example, I go across talking about this. Does a system, those people who are our leaders or who are educational chiefs, do they see the future? You know, in the sense that do they reimagine a future? Now, what happens in the world is, it is not the craft you have, it is not the money you have, it is not the profession you have, it is your relevance at any point of time. Now, if I was somewhere just out of school at 80s, and if they had reimagined the future, and if they had seen my talent as a good debater and things like that, they would say there would be a time with the innovation which is happening, he could be a radio anchor, he could be a job. So they have trained me that they don't reimagine the future. So if I'm going to stuck there with whatever they're saying, 10 years down, I'm irrelevant to this country. So the society or the world or your identity is how relevant you are. You could be a cook, you could be a mother, you could be a teacher, anything. So the dignity of labor, so everything is saying that this is successful, this is not successful. These people can afford, or you better be safe. See, if you're not taking a risk, that itself is a risk in life. Totally. Until unless you push yourself, how do you evolve? How do you push yourself? Why do you always want to be in a comfort zone? And you need to go back to it, as we are talking about this of the 60s, 70s, because of the economic constraints, we don't know what the money is, what life is. Everybody wanted to be safe. So somebody asked me, Prakash, if you were not an actor, if I had not given a chance, and if you had been a mechanic, what would you have been? I should have got a national award for being a mechanic. You know, the point is, you are good at whatever is there at your things. You know, that is how should the attitude be.
Absolutely.
But I want to know, sir, what were the meanest things said to you, like which really bothered you? There must have been things.
Now, as you were saying, you are talking about your farmhouses. See, there's a beach house I have in Chennai. Now, I have to thank one fellow because I was just got into Tamil industry and it was 90s, 92s. And I was alone because I was in a Tamil Nadu. I was come from Karnataka. The loneliness, I didn't have much friends. So at 11 o'clock in the night, I was sitting by the beach, the sea, and looking at wondering. And suddenly there was a big hit on my with a ruler. And I looked back, there's a cop standing. He said, "Kya kar raha hai tu?" I said, "No, ऐसे 11 बजे क्या कर रहा है तू? पिया है क्या?" "नहीं पिया हूँ." "Hard, one more." I said, "Why are you hitting me?" I said, "Get out from here." And he took the 32 rupees from my pocket. Now, if I had got disheartened by that, you know, I just took the pen and I said, one day I will sit by the beach. I used to get around 25,000 rupees per film then. It was not enough for me because I had to send money home. It was very difficult for me to survive. I said, one day I will go stand by a beach, take a little property, have a hut there and sit there and have a drink. It took 4 years to do it. But I was made of different stuff because of the theatre, because of my exposure to literature, because of being stubborn to what I want to do. But this orientation is not there for a lot of people. No? They get disheartened, they get discouraged because the pressure is more from the outside, not from within. आप ये बनना है, वो बनना है. Even if you see an honor killing of a father killing a daughter, he doesn't want to kill his daughter, but the society says, what about your other daughters? There's so much, this orientation has to change. That is how you have to strengthen people.
What about you? What were the meanest things that were told to you and what were the kind of struggle? When did you come to Bombay? And it has taken you a lot, and even Kuch Bhige Alfaz, I must say that he has read the message yesterday, which I have sent in like 3 years ago.
I just saw it.
Yeah, you did. So मैंने 3 साल पहले इनकी मूवी देखी थी और मैंने इनको कहा था कि बहुत अच्छी मूवी है and it's a poetic film. He replied to that message yesterday, sir. I'm not even kidding. When he was in
but in his defense, he's not really a social media.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just
He
pulling.
saw your message, fell down in the bathroom. He lost her. Yesterday, suddenly, he woke up and he messaged.
No, but what kind of a struggle have you been through? Like, and what were the meanest things that were told to you as an actor?
It's just begun for him.
I don't think about any of it as a struggle at all. I honestly, the day I imagined myself that I will be an actor, what I want to achieve by being an actor, the dream itself has led so much happiness to me that the process has never seemed like a struggle. The patience, the waiting, and it is a lot. Yes, the waiting is a lot. Yes, the uncertainty is immense. Yes, when you are obstinate that you do not want to even think about a plan B, you get anxious. You have anxiety like anything, like nobody's business. But you always, if you manage to go to sleep imagining what your future should be and how you want it to be, you will end up sleeping better. You will end up waking up to a new day of making those tiny little learnings and adjustments in your life that help you reach that goal.
True.
And my life growth, because I think the day I stop learning is the day I die. I don't think that biological death necessarily is death per se in that manner. I think it's when you consider कि हो गया, सीख लिया. So I think in that manner, that struggle I'm up for every day, inshallah.
What about you, Barkha?
I think one of the first things I faced after I became an actor was my color, my complexion. But seriously, I mean, I know we're all, I mean, ye to, you know, conventional, fair, good-looking boy. But really, I have. I mean, they were my makeup artist.
Keep looking at me like you. Chill.
I mean, yeah, we all fight our own battles.
Yes, of course.
But, you know, something as basic as this, where I'm in front of the camera and the DOP will be like, makeup bright karo. And then the makeup guy would try to make me like about 3 shades fairer than I am. And I hated that because I love my complexion. And, you know, and so I did that a few times and then I'm like, I can't do this. So I have faced it and I would say, I mean, I would talk to people and say, listen, you cast me knowing this is what my complexion is. Don't try to change me and now make me a fairer person. You should have just cast a fairer person then. So that was one of the things I faced. And another thing was I started off playing important characters in a television show. But the sword of my dad was hanging on my head that I've got to do more, you know, otherwise he's, you know, he'll be like, really, you went for this? So I had to move on to doing, you know, the main leads. Television is all about playing the main lead, you know how it is. And I did get a main lead. But at that time, the show that I was doing in the production house, I wouldn't want to name it now, that I was working with, refused to let me go out of ego that you can't leave us. We're the biggest. You cannot leave us, you know. And I'm sitting across the table with this man and I'm telling him that, listen, I need to do this. You know, it's important. And please understand my family and all that jazz. And he just looks at me and he says, you want to play a main lead? Shakal dekhi apni. That's exactly what he told me. And I felt exactly the thing that you did. I got up from that and I said, do what you have to. I said, I'm walking out of here right now, out of your show right now, do what you have to. And I was a newcomer that time. They filed a lawsuit against me. I did not tell anyone in my family that I was sued for walking out of that show. I hired a lawyer on my own and I'm like a 23, 24-year-old girl, all alone. I hired a lawyer somehow and fought that case, won that case. And 18 years later, here I am. So, you know, it's, yeah.
What about you, sir?
That's why life is good to you.
That's very similar to what Zain said.
Sorry.
I think most of us, as I said before, that we don't cast ourselves right role in life. If you have cast yourself, means if you have heard your inner calling, which is quite humble voices, it's very difficult to discern quite often. And then, you just, for example, I just wanted to act and I love acting and I did it without money or good food for 30, 40, 35 years. And I always enjoyed it. And only in 2004 or 5, I used to sleep in friends' houses and they will give me, Adil, uske liye bistar tayar karo. You know, I didn't even think of earning money. So one day I go to my friend and I said, I think I should earn some money, you know. So my friend who usually hosts me, he said, darling, that's a good idea. So what I'm saying is that I was so happy doing what I was doing, and then money came, it was like dessert. You have already had your food, and paisa bhi mil raha hai, kya baat hai? And then somebody said, oh, acha, Adil Hussain, we know you. Acha, ye bhi ho raha hai. So it just becomes... Otherwise, I was happy. I was sleeping well. I still sleep well without any drug or alcohol or anything. I can sleep well at any time. I think that's, for me, is success. That I can sleep well. In 10 minutes, I go to bed and I'm off.
I want to tell you that whatever you've gone through, whatever all three of you have gone through, is something that is made.
Four.
No, three of you in terms of racism.
Acha.
It's so normalized in today's culture. Like, I hope that it goes away because it happens to the best of us.
Sorry.
कभी तो मुझे भी बोला गया है कि I should put a little more makeup. I shouldn't.
आपको भी?
हाँ, मैं तो makeup डालता ही नहीं हूँ तो. And you understand when somebody is saying, if they tell me that थोड़ा सा dark लग रहा है, तो you understand that they're saying it for the whole video or whatever. But when people come and tell you who have no business, कि you are looking very dark in that video. Why? Have you tanned? So you know that that's a really like, oh, okay, they're trying to like get down to that, and it's sad. But I hope that you guys have come through all of it. Everybody does eventually if they really want to. That's what you said. That's all of you said. And it was great that it was not like an interview. It felt like a conversation.
Oh yes.
And thank you for this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah, I'm happy.
हमारी
But
दिल्ली
I just want
कहानियाँ
to
होगी
make, sorry, I have to
तो
make a
11th
point. What he
November,
said is so important also, that orientation which is not there amongst the youth.
Yeah.
I wish it was there so that so many people could have come that
Yeah.
would have gotten that courage. That disheartens me. Of course, he had the orientation. I had whatever I had and gone for it. But I wish my, younger ones, they would get certain
So they are not
facilitation.
attached to anything. They are
Facilitation.
not. We were just discussing this that a generation which comes after, unfortunate, they might be smarter, sharper than all of us,
Hope so.
but they are not attached. Like we are, whatever happens to me, I might be 8 years away from my family, but I'm still so attached to family, people, X, Y, Z, my work, everything.
You look 16.
Chalo.
Chalo.
Bas, on this note, we are going to end this conversation.
No, on another note, we're going to end the conversation. 11th November, Mukhbir on Z5.
Yes.